Welcome to Aussie Sidecar Stories. In this episode of Aussie Sidecar Stories, we catch up with someone who came highly recommended multiple times, Gavin Porteous. He has raced Isle of Man, he's had Australian titles, and he's raced Bathurst a bunch of times, as well as sharing a whole host of different stories and anecdotes along the way. Thank you for the recommendations, and thank you so much to Gav for jumping on and having a chat.
Whether it's road, dirt, or cross country, there's no better feeling at a racetrack than the sight, the sound, and the excitement of a sidecars race. The Aussie Sidecar Stories podcast is here to share the stories of the people who live and breathe this wild sport. From the riders and passengers to committee members and volunteers, it takes a village to keep sidecar racing alive, and we want to welcome you in by sharing their stories.
Hello, Gav. Welcome to Aussie Sidecar Stories. How you doing?
Not bad. How's yourself?
I'm well, thank you. You're a man who's come recommended just a couple of times for me to have a bit of a chat to. So I would love to hear just why that is. So we'll jump in.
Well, I don't know.
How did you get started in sidecar racing?
Basically, I was bloody awful on a solo. When I was a kid, I started when I always had motorbikes from a kid. My man was involved in motorbikes. All his mates were in motorbikes. So it was just a natural progression. And when I started riding a solo, I was bloody hopeless. So sidecars was the next best thing.
When was that you first jumped onto a sidecar, and what was it that you got onto to start with?
Well, back then, to ride scrambles back then, you had to be 16 years old.
Yeah.
But my man signed my licence so I could race when I was 15. And you couldn't road race till you're 18, and I was road racing when I was 17. And we bought a Lindsay Urquhart chassis. Lindsay Urquhart used to make, he was a really good motorbike frame builder and racer. So I bought a chassis off a bloke, and one of Dad's mates had a motorbike shop who had a crashed 650 Yamaha.
Yep.
And we adapted that engine into it, and away we went.
Yeah, right. So whereabouts were you based at that point when you started racing? Because you're in South Australia at the moment. Is that where you started racing as well?
No, I used to come from Dandenong in Victoria.
Yeah, all right.
Just near Sandown Raceway.
Oh, wow. So what were the tracks that you were racing on down there at that point in time?
Oh, we went to Phillip Island, Calder, Winton, Sandown, Hume Weir. We went up to Oran Park, Amaroo Park, come over here to AIR, Adelaide National Raceway, Mallar. Then we used to go up to Queensland. We used to go everywhere.
And there was a few more tracks available to you back then as well.
Back in those days, it was really good. Like there was plenty of tracks to race on, and a lot of competitors.
Yeah, well, that's it. Starting down in Victoria, I was only commenting to someone the other day that there's a lot of sidecars down in Victoria, and I don't know why that is.
I don't know. Back years ago, I don't know. We probably had about 15 or something sidecar blokes just in Dandenong itself.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really popular.
And your life got signed away young to be able to do it. Were you one of the youngest racing at that point in time, or what was the demographic? What did it look like there?
Yeah, no, I was pretty young. Probably young and silly and didn't have much idea, but we sort of got the hang of it. There were a lot of older people racing, which, looking back on it, it's sort of, we didn't have the budgets that a lot of people had. We did it on a shoestring.
Yeah.
And had to make everything ourselves. And that sort of also taught you a lot of things in life, I suppose.
Well, it's a conversation that I've had with a couple of people about the fact that racing sidecars is one of the things where you've got to either have the budget to pay somebody to do all of the work on your machines, or you've got to have the knowledge and the expertise to work on them yourself. And, you know, back in the day, a lot of people did just learn how to work their own machines because that's also how you got the best performance out of them.
Oh, exactly. It's just, I don't know, it's just progression in life, I suppose. And I'm not whinging about it because I've really enjoyed doing what I've done. It's just, it is expensive.
Yeah.
And it's a commitment, you know, like, I used to come home from work, straight out to the shed, knock out the shed at midnight, in the bed, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go back to work.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a hard slog, but when it's something that you love and you're committed to doing, then you're willing to do it. So you mentioned you did a lot of running around. Like when you were a teenager, we might move through a couple of generations. So what was it like when you were racing as a teenager? Who did you have on as a passenger for you? Because you were the rider. So who jumped on the side with you?
I started out with a guy called Daryl Decker. We were both young, and his brother was actually a good superbike rider.
Oh, wow.
Alan Decker. He was my first passenger, and then he decided to give it away, and then Barry Jones, he got on for a while.
Yeah.
And then Barry gave it away, and then Jeff Spencer, Jeff and I rode together for probably, best part of probably 18 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we sort of clicked and had a whale of a time.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty significant relationship that you've had with a passenger there for it to be able to last so long, because sometimes they don't last that long at all. So
yeah.
what are some of the racing highlights that you've had? Because in some of the recommendations that people have given to me when your names come up, I've got probably a pretty abridged version of the cliff notes of your career. So now it's your turn. Tell me about some of the career highlights for you from over the years.
Winning at Bathurst was really good. That was a tick in the box that you tick. Also, when I was a lot younger, we had a TT at Laverton.
Yeah.
And Giacomo Agostini came out, and they had all the hoo-ha stars and whatnot there. And we finished third there, and that was something that I sort of hold up pretty high because it was a track that no one had ridden on. It was pretty basic, and we seemed to do okay there and had a good time.
You'll have to tell me a little bit more about Laverton, because that's not one that I've heard mentioned before.
Well, it was a racetrack that was put up on an airfield. There's an old airstrip there, and it's like they laid it out with hay bales.
Oh, wow.
And there was thousands and thousands of people there, and I reckon it was about 38 degrees or something like that. It was stinking hot. And it was just a one-off. Like, to us, it was just like, wow, you know, I've never seen so many people at a race meeting.
What year was that?
Late 70s, I reckon.
Yeah, right. So why do they do that one only as a one-off, do you know?
I think they brought a few World Championship people out, like in the 250 class, 350 class, I think, and the unlimited class.
Yeah.
Of the solo riders. And it was just a big hoo-ha, like a TT meeting sort of thing.
Yeah, everyone gets really excited about those types of events because, as I say, there's a fair bit of prestige attached to them. So what outfit were you running at that point in time?
We had a 900 Kawasaki in a frame that we built.
Yeah.
And I was on methanol and all the hoo-ha. And it's the first time that I've actually started panicking a bit after we finished it. They were going to do a fuel test. It's the first time I'd ever heard of people doing fuel tests in the bike. But everything was fine.
Was it just not something that they did to do fuel tests, so it made you nervous, or was there something that maybe might have not been quite up to snuff?
No, I didn't know what you're allowed, what you weren't allowed. And I do know back in those days, people were using nitro and they were doing lots of silly things. But we use methanol. That's as far as we ever went.
Yeah, that stuff's dangerous enough. We don't need to mess with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you got a win at Bathurst. Now, that's running sidecars at Bathurst is something that just absolutely fascinates and terrifies me. What year was that you ran there? And tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, I reckon I went there. I was probably 18 or 19 when I first raced there.
Oh, wow.
And I reckon we went there 15 years in a row, like racing sidecars there. When I first went there, there was no concrete barriers. They were all wooden rails on the side of the track. It wasn't even ARP car, it was wooden rails.
And the wire fences that there was apparently at some point they started taking the wire out of the fences so that people didn't get caught on it if they went off.
Yep. That was back in the good old days. And then I don't know what year. I think it was in '88. I think, and Chevo with Doug, he actually crashed when they first put the chase in there.
Yep.
He crashed in there and qualified, and they stopped qualifying. And we had to qualify late in the afternoon. And then lo and behold, we crashed in qualifying late in the afternoon and completely destroyed our bike. Poor Dougie, he broke a hip and whatnot and ended up in hospital. And Jeff and I were okay. Jeff, he broke a bone in his foot. I was okay. And but the actual bike was in a million bits. And we brought it back to the pits. And all the other sidecar blokes come hunting around, put all the fairing back together, and I changed the wheels because it smashed all the wheels and wrecked the carbies, smashed the airbox.
Wow. And
put it all together, and we actually went out and won the Grand Prix the day later.
That's amazing. With the passenger with a broken foot.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky that it actually rained, so we actually run the Grand Prix in the wet, which is a bit easier on Jeff.
Yes, we do have to do a little bit less when it's raining, so it's probably a bit lucky that it all fell together how it did. But that's just yet another example of just how amazing the sidecar community is. That everyone just rallied together to get his back out there.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned it was probably about 15 years that you went over to Bathurst and were racing. What was the evolution of the track like in that time? Like, as you say, we know that in the later part of that period, they put the chase in down at the bottom there. Like, what was it like watching that evolution?
Well, it went from camping in tents to garages, bitumen in the pits instead of just dirt.
Yeah.
And it went from wooden boards to concrete walls. So I've seen it change a lot, and I've actually raced there only a few years ago, and I've raced the HQ for 20 years as well.
Oh,
so
wow.
I've actually raced there in my car as well.
Yeah, right. That's quite a bit of a crossover and some other conversations, because I know a few guys that race HQs as well. So what was that comparison like, going from 3 wheels to 4 around Mount Panorama? Because I've mentioned before, I go to Bathurst every year for the 1000 to watch the supercars, and this year I have to admit I walked to the track and was looking at it from a completely different perspective, because there's the possibility that we'll have sidecars running at Mount Panorama again next year for a special event. So it's when you've got that different perspective to look at it. What was that like for you once you jumped from 3 to 4 wheels?
To me, it felt exactly the same. The bumps were in the same spot. The dips were in the same spot. And it was just easy.
And you didn't have to rely on anybody else. It was just you in control.
Yeah, well, that's the worst part. No one to blame.
And did you stop racing at Bathurst before they stopped bikes racing there? Or did that ban on bikes bring about your end?
I I stopped racing there not because I wanted to. I sold my bikes and I went to Formula 2 with 600,
Yeah.
and I was doing the Isle of Man when they did the last two meetings, so I was tied up with my little bike, and that wouldn't have been competitive there.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So what was it that made you shift from, because the outfits that you were running were obviously a little bit older ones. What was it that made you shift to the newer model bikes and try something new?
We had ZZRs and ZX10s, which were late model stuff at the time.
Yeah.
And they were very good, like they were fantastic. But we just wanted to go to the Isle of Man. So therefore we had to go back to a 600 because that's what they ran over there.
Yeah. And what year was that you went over and did your first Isle of Man?
92.
Yeah, so not all that well. I say not all that long ago as I realise it's 2025, so it is a little while ago. What?
Yeah.
Time is just flying by. What was it like going over and doing Isle of Man? Because that's another one that is just an event and an aspiration for so many sidecar riders.
Well, we actually had a bit of an argument one day. We raced at Lakeside and we're in the pub after it, and we're all talking, and there was all the sidecar blokes around, and Jeff and I were saying how we wanted to go, and there was half of them saying you should go and half were saying you're not going, and there was a bit of a brawl, and Jeff and I just looked at each other laughing because at that stage we couldn't afford to go anyhow.
Yeah.
So then we put our mind to it and spent a couple of years building a bike for one, and saving money to do it and getting organised to do it. And it took a couple of years to put everything together. For one, we had to build a bike. We didn't really know what to expect or what they had, what they used. And then we picked the Kawasaki engines because I really like Kawasaki's.
Yep.
And we got these 600s, and then someone rang me up, a solo bloke, and said, "Oh, don't use them. We've had nothing but trouble with the gearboxes and this and that." And no, it was too late. We'd built it, and we never had a problem with it.
Yeah, right.
It was fantastic.
It definitely does not seem like a trip that you can just do on a whim. As you say, there's a lot of saving and a lot of preparation. Like even booking the boats and everything to get over to the island, you've got to do that so far in advance.
Oh, yeah. Well, everything fell into place. Like, we built this bike, and then a bus came into work, and I had to take a big pack rack off the top of it. It was an aluminium pack rack, so then I used all that material to make the crate for the bike. And then the actual bike went on the same plane we did. I air freighted it over there. Yeah. And so we built this thing, and we lobbed in at Heathrow, and I walked into the container area, and I said to the bloke, "I've come to pick up our bike." He said, "Oh, yeah, it's out there." I said, "Well, when can I have it?" He said, "Oh, when I'm ready." Oh. So we've sat in the plane all like for bloody 30 hours or something, and then so we had to wait a few hours before he was ready to give it to us.
Mm.
And then we had to unpack it, and I made this crate. I made it in bits so that we could unbolt it all and put it all in our van that we got, and went over to the island.
Yeah. And
then this guy where we're staying, like you're saying, we had to book so far in advance, and it wasn't just Anne, myself and Jeff. There was about a dozen of us went over.
Yeah.
A few of our mates came over, so we had to find room for all that. So we eventually got that. Then this Paul had organised a shed for us,
yeah,
which was really good. So we go up the end of this lane, and he opens the roller door, and the shed is like a rock wall at the end of the road with a roller door in front of it.
Yeah.
And it had a foot of water in it.
Oh, no.
And I just said to him, "This is no good, we've got to do something else for this." So he rang up the nursing home. So they had a shed at the nursing home. So we go up to the nursing home, and the matron up there said, like, "You can use the shed, blah, blah, blah." And there was a row of sheds. And And we had to clean all the beds and everything out of this shed and put them in another one. And so then she told us where someone had recarpeted their house, so we went and got some carpet off the side of the road, got a couple of 44s, and it actually made one of the walls of the crate that I made a workbench.
Yeah.
So we had a workbench, and I went and got lights and set it all up.
Oh.
So we're set up pretty good.
The ingenuity that used to happen.
And then,
that's amazing.
oh yeah, and then so the bike just sat in there for a few, because Anne and I and Jeff went over there 6 weeks early.
Yeah.
And just drove round and round the track every day. We did 3 laps of the track every day, in the night, in the rain, in the hail. And by the time we sort of went to start the race, or start practice, I could actually just about draw the track on a bit of paper.
Wow.
I knew it that well. We did over 100 laps in our transit van.
And how important is that?
But,
because it is just such an intricate and such a long track. I guess that would have made such a difference to you to be able to have a bit of a feel for it already before you got out there for that first run.
Well, there's a lot of sections look the same, and you know where it's going, but you don't know how fast you can go.
Yeah.
And that's a big learning point, you know, that's sort of only home knowledge, you know, like the more times you go, the more faster you get.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we put our bike, it was over there in this nursing home. So I thought I'd get the scrutineer, find out who the scrutineer was to get him to come around and have a look at our bike. Because if we had to change anything, I didn't want to be doing it race time.
Yep.
So we're still about a month out. So I rang this bloke up. I can't think of his name. And he come round to our shed and went through it all. And he said, and I'd actually bought this U-Butte Lockheed Master Cylinder Reservoir with a T-piece and everything was honky-tonk. And he said, you're not allowed to use that. They've got to be separate.
Yeah.
He said, but if you go down this lane, blah, 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 he said, there's a car there and there's one bolted to the sidewall, the firewall of it, and tell the lousy bugger to give it to you. So I went down there and told him about it, and the bloke gave it to us and went back and put it on, and we had 2-piece leathers. We're not allowed that. They had to be one piece, so we had to get them sewn together. So he organised someone to do that for us. He was a really nice bloke.
I love hearing that there's that much support over there. Like, I don't know what it's like now. Like, we are talking back in the early 90s, but that's really good that they, whether that's how they were for everybody, but they at least recognise the effort and how much went into it for you guys getting over there from Australia to do it. That supporting you and making sure you got out there was more important than just pulling you up and saying no to everything. Well,
there was another thing. We'd always be up scrutineering early.
Yeah.
Because like we had nothing else to do. We were there to do a job, and that was it. You know, we just loved everything about it. And I forget the measurement now, but I think the bikes had to be 1800 wide.
Yeah.
And I said to the bloke, I said, I know that my bike's 1830 wide because the crate had to be that wide, blah, blah, blah. And he looked at me, and yeah, there's an actual frame that you've got to wheel your bike through. He said, don't worry about it, she'll be right. And he just hooked his foot on the frame and just spread the frame apart so I could wheel my bike through it.
Good on him.
I didn't care.
So what was that first Isle of Man experience like when you got out there? Like, you'd done so many laps in the van. What was it like when you actually got to jump on there on the sidecar and do that first lap?
Well, it's really funny. A lot of I rang a few blokes up over there before we went, and I won't mention names, but they were a bit cold, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Bit put off. Anyhow, Dave Molyneux was one that really helped us a lot. I got on really well with Dave. We actually spent a fair bit of time with him. And Dave Saville, and I did a couple of laps in the van with them, and that helped. But just driving round and round, that helped. And at that stage, the lap record was 99 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And during the week, you had to do I think, at least 5 laps at 72 miles an hour, I think, average.
Yeah, right.
Anyhow, we'd gone out and done our first practice session, and Dave Saville said to me, he said, you won't do 3 laps in the hour, like you're allowed an hour practice.
Yeah.
If you go past the start-finish line at 59 minutes, well, you're allowed to do another lap. And he said to me, don't worry about trying to do 3 laps. He said, and you'll never do it. Okay, so we've gone out. Then the lap record was 99 miles an hour. We've gone out and I've done 2 laps and come in. And I said, what'd you come in for? I said, well, Dave said that we'd never do 3 laps, so I did 2 laps and come in. Anyhow, we left there, and this was at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So we've left there, gone back, put it back in the shed, gone and had breakfast, got the timesheet, and I started looking from the bottom at the timesheet. Oh shit, they've missed us. Anyhow, I'm going and going and going, and I think we're about 8th fastest.
Oh, wow.
7th fastest or something like that, and we'd actually done 96 mile an hour, I think, average, our first lap ever.
Wow.
And everyone just went, wow, how good's that, you know? And then all of a sudden we were everyone's best mate, you know. That was really good.
They were like, these just aren't a couple of loony blokes from Australia coming up here and trying to get in the way of our fun. They're actually serious guys, serious contenders.
Yeah. Well, we were sort of, I mean, we're mucking around people. We just love mucking around. But when the job's to be done, you do it, you know. We were sort of serious, but we just enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. So how did the rest of that weekend unfold for you, or the week there at Isle of Man? Like, was it surreal for you to actually have such a mammoth plan come off so well and come together for you?
Well, something I dreamt about from when I was a little kid. Mike Harwood and all them, I just really, I don't know, I just enjoyed that, in awe of it sort of thing. And so to go out, to build your own bike, take it over there, organise a van, get to the island, and actually do your first week of practice, it was just unbelievable. Everywhere you went, people would go, oh, there's the Aussies, you know, and people would want to talk to you and stop you in the street and have a yak, and it was fantastic. And then, but when we go up to the nursing home, well, first, in the week prior to that, I'd actually got some fuel and started our bike up this lane. Anyhow, I started it, and this bloke's come out the backyard, and he's yelling and screaming and pointing, and so I turned it off, walked over to him. He goes, hey, mate, he said, here's £5. He said, buy yourself a gallon of gas. He said, you might need it. and that's always stuck in my mind, you know. It was just something out of the blue.
Yeah.
And, this old bloke just probably couldn't afford it. I don't know, but it was just a really nice gesture. And then we go to pick our bike up at, 5 o'clock to go to scrutineering on the first day. And on big black writing on the shed door it's all been written in, the doors were black and it's been written in white paint with just a big 4-inch wide brush, good luck sports.
Oh, that's so
I've
good.
just gone, oh no, we're going to have to paint the bloody doors. So anyhow, because while we've been working there, all the old people come out and have a look and they were interested. And so we've done this practice session, gone home. Then I've gone back to the shed because we sort of, after every session, the bike got stripped to the frame and the engine sitting there.
Yeah.
Everything got pulled off clean and put back on. So I went in and saw the matron and I said, oh, I'm sorry about the doors, blah, blah, blah. She said, oh, no, the old blokes did that. And it was really good. The old people did it in the old folks' home. It was really good.
I think that's fantastic. Like the whole island over there seems to like really embrace when it's that race or month essentially, and whenever there's something on. But I was actually going to ask whether the old fogies came out and had a look and checked it out, because it's just so exciting. Rather than being grouchy and humdrum about it being there, they got in and supported you as well, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, it was really good. It was a good laugh. And you know, we'd be there till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night working, and they didn't care.
Oh,
They'd come out, someone come out, but they'd all be in bed, and they didn't care about the noise that we made.
Well, most of them probably couldn't hear too well, so that probably helped.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So,
but no, it was
how did you end up? Like, what were your final results of that first Isle of Man, or was that not something that you were really interested in tracking because you were there for the experience and you finished? Did you finish the event?
Yeah, I'm a competitive person, but I'm also pretty methodical. Like everything's got to be right,
Yep.
and I had a bit of a plan. But there's a lot of things before we even got there. We actually arrived on the island, not knowing that they would give us a start,
Oh,
because we'd entered, but that actually hadn't sort of. Yes, you're officially number 20 or 30 or whatever.
yeah.
So I'd been onto the ACU over there for weeks,
Yeah.
trying to make sure that we'd got a start. And it wasn't until a fortnight before, I reckon, that they said, yes, you've got to start. You're number 70. Like, oh, God. So I said to Jeff, let's not dwell on it. Let's just prove them wrong, And that sort of put a bit of a bee in my bonnet that I'm going to prove these buggers, we're not silly. So throughout the practice week, we were always in the top 10.
Yeah.
And there were 76 starters.
Yeah.
And it was a class field, it was a hard fought thing, it wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't just like a club event.
Yeah. No. So
Anyhow, we ended up in the top 10 every session, and unfortunately for I can't think of the guy's name now, but he was number 8, and he crashed out during practice.
Oh no.
So they actually moved us up, and we started off number 8.
Yeah.
So we raced away on the road, and we actually finished 2 ninths in the 2 races, in race A and race B,
Wow.
out of 76. So I was pretty happy with that.
That's
Won and we won the best newcomer and 2 silver replicas.
yeah.
And we went back the following year, and I'd actually won. They presented me with the Mike Harwood Award for the effort and the results that we had from the year before.
That's phenomenal. Like to be able to achieve such good results in your first ever attempt there. I guess that just shows, like as you mentioned, you're a competitive person, but that being methodical and having a system, like the number of laps that you did around that track and how methodical you are with, stripping the bike down at the end of each day and, going through it and making sure that everything's right. There's method to the madness there, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And because Jeff was a fitter and turner, so that was really good.
Yep.
And I know Doug, like Chivo, he was over there with us, giving us a hand. He, rest in peace, the poor bugger. He was one of my best mates, and we had a lot of good times together.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd start on one corner each and just go around and just double check everything.
Yeah. No, look, and it has to be done because there's so many moving parts that it's the functionality of it as well, but it's also safety, because if something's not quite right, like it's such high stakes, especially around Isle of Man, like you don't want to risk something going wrong.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, and we won the Peter Chapman Trophy, which is the fastest newcomer.
Yep.
So that was something else. And then after the event, they have this presentation at the Villa Marina, which is a double-story auditorium sort of thing, and I don't know how many people were in there, but I also hadn't had a drink for a long time.
Yep.
The whole time over, I never drank because we were keen, We used to swim every day and play squash, and but in this auditorium, the presentation night, our name gets called up, and you get up and you get your silver replica, and you just walk up one side of the stage, and a bloke hands it to you. There's a guy at the dais talking, and he does all the talking.
Yep.
And anyhow, our turn comes up to go and get it, because no one's allowed to speak. And the guy said, "Oh, Gav, you've come a long way. Would you like to tell us your story?" So anyhow, I walked over, grabbed the microphone, and I walked away from him. And I walked out into the middle of the stage and blah, blah, blah. And I rambled on for probably 10 minutes about all this stuff and had the whole joint in an uproar. And gave the microphone back to him, said thanks, blah, blah, blah. That was for race A. So then we went back to get our replica for race B, and everyone's yelling, grab the microphone, grab the microphone. Because it turned everything around, because they were all regimental in how they did it. But this just made it was funny,
added a bit of colour and character to the event, which I think is really important. Hopefully they learnt from their lessons and they let people have a bit of a talk now at the presentations.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
So how many times did you do Isle of Man? Like you said, you did it back-to-back in those couple of years in the 90s. How many runs over there have you done?
I had a plan. I wanted to win it, and I had a plan of 5 years. I reckon I could have won it in 5 years with development and just learning everything and how things went. We went back the next year and we're running fairly well up, and we had fuel trouble.
Yep.
Because we went faster, we used more fuel, and there's a lot of hoo-ahs and sort of trouble went on, and I know we're running well in the top 10 in race A and run out of fuel, and then we finished race B, but only just.
Yeah.
And that was just a bit of a downer, but it just made you more hungry, and I knew what we had to do to fix the problem.
Bigger fuel tank?
And we come back. So we finished. What did we do? We didn't finish the first race. Second race, we'd ran out of fuel, coasting down from Cregnah Bar, and I stopped, jumped the fence, got a bloke's drink bottle, milked some fuel out of his tank, out of his bike, put it in and finished, and we still finished 30-something,
And gave that bloke quite a story to share.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. No, I had to finish one, and then, then we went back the next year, and we had new engines, we're on different fuel, everything was set, things were going to be good, and went out the first practice session and just hit this really slippery spot on the road, and just slid, and I thought, oh God, we're going to slide into that really soft hedge there. That turned to be a rock wall. So we slammed in the rock wall, and it spun the bike around and slammed me against the concrete wall. And actually, right at the top of my arm, and the ball they found down in the bottom of my lung.
Oh.
And took me to hospital, and they dragged that out and hooked it back onto my arm, and away we went again.
Yeah, right. And how was Jeff with that one? Because unfortunately us passengers don't tend to come away unscathed when we impact walls.
Scotty, that was riding with me at that time, Scotty Deslandis, he broke his thumb. And I'll tell everyone, that's when he punched me going over the top of me.
Okay, well, we'll go with that one. Normally it's the passenger that comes off worse than the rider, but there you go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I got slammed between the bike and the rock wall.
Ah, yes, yeah. Those pesky walls, they need to stop putting them so close to racetracks.
Yeah. But I never broke a bit of skin. Never lost consciousness or anything like that. It just sort of broke the top of my arm internally and ripped all the rib cage out.
Yeah, right. And what kind of recovery was that? Like, that would have been pretty hard time for a while.
They operated on it, and they put me in a coma for a week.
Yep.
So I missed a week. Then I was in hospital for another week, I think, and then I flew home, and sort of by the end of that year, I wasn't too bad.
Yeah, right. Was that your last Isle of Man, or did you sort of have a score to settle and got back over there again?
No, I didn't ride the following year I didn't ride. That was in 94. So 95 I had another mate, Peter Guest.
Yeah.
He was keen to ride in a sidecar, so I said, "Oh, bugger, let's build one and have a ride and see how you go." So I built one, and he had a ride, and I don't think there was many races that he lost throughout the year, and he ended up winning the Australian Championship on it that year.
Yeah.
First, like coming from a superbike to a sidecar, and that was really good because the superbike guys were following him as well, like following the sidecars. They were watching it all.
Yeah.
They were interested in it, and that was a really good year. And then at the end of that year, he wanted to change something on it, and we went to Mallar at a ride day, and Ian said to me, "Why don't you have a ride on it and see if you'll know what he's talking about?" I said, "Oh, yeah, okay, not a bad idea," because then I could, at that stage, I could sort of I was okay to have a ride.
Yeah.
Because I've lost the use of my arm just flops. It just can't do anything with it.
Yeah, right.
And so I went out and had a ride, and I come back in, and I said, "Yeah, what you're talking about, it's going to do the right thing." And Anne said, "How do you reckon you went?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, doing bloody 24s or something like that." And we're only a couple of seconds off the lap record, first time back on the bike. So Anne said, "Why don't you have a ride?" And I said, "Oh, I might have a ride when the Australian Championship comes to Mallar." That was in 96. I said, "I might do that meeting." And I think that was going to be the second round. She said, "Well, why don't you go to Phillip Island and do the first round? Because if you don't, and you sort of go, okay, you'll kick yourself."
Yeah.
So I thought, "Oh, that's probably a good idea." So I made another front end for the bike, and I put an eccentric in the bottom triple clamp, say,
Yeah.
so I could move the front end over. What I was trying to make the bike fall into left-handers,
Yep.
because Phillip Island's a lot of
Got a few of
left-handers.
them, yep.
And I lowered the sidecar. What else? And I did something. I think I might have towed the sidecar wheel out. Anyhow, everything that I did made it completely bad. Like everything I did was completely wrong, opposite.
Oh, no.
But I had all the stuff with me to fix it. So I had another front end. So we changed the front end and
Yeah.
fixed the sidecar wheel type, put it how it had to be, and set it up. And then we ended up winning the first round. So I was like, "Wow, how good's this?" So then that year, it was over 5 rounds that year, and we won all 4. No, it was over 6 rounds. I think we won 5 rounds and ended up second in 1.
Oh, look, it sounds like
So, yeah,
you're just
and that
a
was-
natural at it, and you've just got a way of being able to work out what needs to be done.
Well, you try and nut it out. It's but I just once I did that, I said, "Dan, that's it. I've done it now. I've had enough." So then I stopped riding.
Yeah.
And then another old bloke here had a bike, and I ended up riding his bike at a few local meetings, just to make him happy, sort of thing.
Yeah. No, well, I think that's a pretty logical way to do it. Like you proved that you still could. You got to have that last little hit out to get it out of your system, but now, and you've got to finish in a positive sense rather than it being like, a massive crash at Isle of Man and you're done and that was the end of it. But I think that's really nice, like just to be able to have that closure on your racing period.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was good fun. Like I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it was time. I'd had enough.
Yeah.
But I'm still involved in motorbike. I'm still involved in it now.
Yeah, well, that's I was going to ask about that because you've mentioned a lot through all of it that you build your outfits and you still do. You're still involved with building and maintaining some sidecars. How important is that to you, having that control over what's happening with your machine?
I like everything right. And like I'm building a new bike at the moment. I've been working all day in the shed today, and I've been working on it full time just about. These two lads, Max and Sam Hutchinson, who actually ride dirt bikes as well, I've helped them for the last 15 years, I reckon, in their dirt bikes. And a few years ago, Max said, I wouldn't mind going on a road race bike, and he kept dagging me and jagging me and said, organise it. So a few years ago, I said, one come up for sale, so I went and bought it. And then I had to tell my wife that night that I actually bought it. So, and it was for Max and Sam to ride.
Yeah.
And they've only done a few meetings on it, but they've won a lot of stuff on it. Like, they've just taken it like a duck to water. They actually won the first round of the championships, the Australian championships this year at Phillip Island. They ran second at the Bend. They ran second last year at the Bend. They won Master Mac Park on it. And it's a good thing, which now I'll put that bike up for sale.
Yeah.
And we're sort of 80% nearly finished through building the new one for them.
That's so good. I love hearing that even though you're done with your racing career, that you're still so heavily involved and invested in the sport. And is it a bit of living vicariously through the young guys, or is it just you love working on them and getting to still be a part of it?
Well, I like being a part of it, and I like working on them. I enjoy the challenge.
Yeah.
It's easy to go out and buy an LCR and put a good engine in it and Bob's your uncle, away you go. But I like the challenge of doing it yourself.
Yeah. And I guess it probably reflects back on, as we talked about, back in the 80s and the 90s, when it was just all hands on deck in the pits to help get someone out. And, you might have to MacGyver some different solutions, which I know it's a bit different. Some of those things probably wouldn't fly getting back out on track. But, reflecting back on those days where it was just you got in and got it done, and the sense of reward and accomplishment of even getting out on track was, when you've built it yourself, is so much greater.
Well, self-satisfaction.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I enjoy that part of it, and I enjoy just planning it all, like Max and Sam, they come up with an idea of doing the Australian Safari over in Perth, which is a 5-day event. They did 3,500 Ks, I think, in 5 days. Navigate yourself, like the Dakar Rally.
Wow, yeah.
So Anne and I had a talk. Right, I will supply the bike. They've got to get the money to run it all.
Yeah.
And I think just to run it all, like the entry, the fuel and all that, was something like $35,000.
Ouch.
And they did a lot of fundraising and whatnot and raised some money, and that was tyres and, And so we went about, I built a bike for them.
Yeah.
Anne went about working out how we're going to eat, how we're going to feed everyone and how it's all going to work. And I borrowed this big trailer and we had a workbench, and
yeah,
Anne and I had a full queen-size bed in it. That was the best part. They were out in the blowing wind in their little tents, and they were in it was luxury. But anyhow, same again. This it's all dirt stuff. You had to navigate your stuff yourself. But Anne and I went over there the year before to check out how the bivouacs worked, what we'd need, how we're going to go about it, plan it. Come home, built the bike, planned it all. We had a petrol compressor and that I borrowed off a mate, and just put everything together.
Yeah.
And on the way over there, we run into Jeff Olholm, who's a guy who's done Dakar in cars and stuff like that. He's pretty high up in rallies, and we ran into him, and he said, "What do you got in the trailer?" And we said, "Oh, sidecar." And he said, "Oh, you're the bloody idiots. Why are you doing that?" I said, "Well, I don't know. The lads want to do it, and blah blah blah. So we're doing it." And so anyway, we get there, and the amount of attention that it caused, one bloke had done it years ago on a sidecar. Now, the only sidecar there,
Yeah.
and there was 121 entries, was 3,500 Ks in 5 days.
Oh.
There was only 21 that did every section, and they were one of them.
Wow.
And they finished every section, never broke down. But once again, every night when they come back, I'd made a bench and all this stuff, so we'd sit the bike up there under lights, and it was just the engine and the frame, put everything back together again, and it was like brand new every day when they took off.
Yeah.
And it just proved the point, and people just couldn't believe it. And after the first day, this Jeff Olholm, he was in our camp borrowing stuff. And what do the shockers do? What do these valves do? What does that do? You know, and that was really good.
Yeah, right. No, that's phenomenal. I have to say, I'm really impressed that it went back together properly every night. Because unfortunately, sometimes with these builds, once you've taken it apart, sometimes something just does not go back in right. Did you ever have any of those moments?
No, we try and make everything right. Like, try and make everything just fit in one spot. and it's even like, and luckily, Max, he's a fitter and turner as well, and Sam, like his passenger, he's a motorbike mechanic, so they got a fair bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to work on the bike. Their job was to do their scroll and everything like that at night. There was another guy, Crash, Shane Schiller.
Yep.
Crasher, we call him, because he used to crash a lot. He and myself, we would strip the bike to nothing, go through it. Once it was all done, ready for the next day, full of fuel, then you'd sit down and have 2 beers, whether it would be 10 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning. That was just a written thing. Until the bike was finished, you could not have a drink.
No, and look, that's a very safe and sensible way to go about it. And I guess the benefit of the boys having like mechanical and like an engineering type of knowledge would really come in handy in that kind of event, because sometimes if they're out there, if there's a sound, and even yourself when you were racing, if there was a sound or a vibration or something wasn't quite right, having that kind of knowledge helps in the process of identifying and then problem solving as well.
Well, you feel it through the seat of your pants.
So you've done a bit of running around. Is there a preferred track? Is there a track that you just absolutely loved racing at and would go to any chance you got?
Bathurst to be one.
Yep.
I really loved Wanneroo. I don't know, for some reason that sort of suited me, and I actually won a lot of races there, so, and I just loved the trip over there.
Yep.
And Phillip Island, just fast tracks.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned you got to come up and do Amaroo and Oran Park a little bit before they got shut down. Are there any of these other ones that don't exist anymore that you wish still did exist?
Hume Weir was a good track. Wouldn't suit our modern bikes.
Yep.
It was really tight, little twisty track. Was in a quarry sort of thing. That was in Albury.
Yep.
I just loved it up there, because you'd spend the weekend there, you'd race all day, then you'd go water skiing at night or fishing or doing whatever you want,
Yeah.
because it was on the lake.
Yeah, right.
Or on the weir. Yeah, that was good. But, I actually like racing street circuits.
Yeah, right.
We did one in Canberra years ago at MacArthur Park. And then I went over to Kalgoorlie and did one over there. There was a big TT thing, and that was I think that was in 88.
Yeah, right.
88 or 89.
Yeah.
And the prize money was $5,000 worth of gold.
Oh, wow.
And that was around the streets, and that was good. And it was even better because I won it.
Well, yes, we We all have our reasons for liking tracks, and I guess getting a win like that there is definitely one of them.
Yeah, and then we went back a couple of years later and they had one at Cambolda, which is another suburb of Kalgoorlie. And I was coming, and I can see his face now. He used to come up round this left hand up, and it used to sort of come left up a rise, and then you turn right and go over a hill. And as I was coming round left around this up this rise, there was a policeman laying in the gutter with a radar gun, and I've come round there with a sidecar wheel about 6 inches in the air and a full lock slide. I don't know how fast we're going, and I took my hand off and waved to him. He wasn't there the next lap.
And
next time he come round, he wasn't there.
And he didn't come and tell you how fast you were going? How rude.
No, yeah. We're at the same meeting, and I reckon we'd be doing 140 mile an hour, I reckon, because it was a fast straight. And I'm going down the main street through past all these shops, and a woman walks across in front of me with a pram.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
That got my attention, I tell you.
I bet it would. Oh, that would be absolutely terrifying. It's like, I thought it was bad enough when I saw, like, it was only last year or earlier this year, I saw a video of Molly Taylor doing some rally stuff, and there was the herd of cattle when she came around the corner. That'd be terrifying. But a person with a pram walking across in front of you, that's...
Oh, yeah.
That's not good.
So you had to have your eyes wide open.
Oh, I mean, people knew that there was race meetings happening, didn't they?
Oh, exactly. Like there's bunting everywhere, and well, that's the thing at the Isle of Man. We were there at the end of this street one day, and I think the suit bikes were coming out, and there's like a 14-year-old kid gets a bit of rope, walks across, hangs it on a hook, blocks the road off. This is the end of a street.
Yeah.
No one else around. He just did it, and everyone just stood by the rope and watched it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's finished. The road open car goes past. He takes it off, puts it down, and everyone just obeys the rules.
Yeah. Well, again, it's just that respect and that appreciation for what's going on. Like, it's not like it is there all the time. You know, share the space for a little bit and get involved with the excitement of it. Like, it's so much fun.
Oh, it is. But you just got to watch it at the right spot.
Yeah. That's it. There's definitely some attention that needs to be paid. But no, I think I am very, very glad that everybody has recommended that I get you on for a chat, because you're the first person that's actually raced at Isle of Man that I've got to have a chat with on the podcast. So thank you so much for sharing those stories with me, because it is something that so many people would absolutely love to do. But as we mentioned, the logistics and the finances of it, like the sheer expense of what it would be now is absolutely astronomical. So we all get to live vicariously through you guys who have got to do it before.
Yeah, no, it's good, but I mean, we were lucky that a lot of people gave us a bit of a hand. Like our club raffled a motorbike, and it just a lot of people did a lot of work behind the scenes, and we had some T-shirts printed up, because like no one had T-shirts in those days. It was just unheard of sort of thing. And Jeff said, we should do some T-shirts. And I said, okay, well, you handle it, you do it.
Yeah.
So get 50 made, and if we sell them, great. And if we don't, well, then we've got some rag.
Well.
And that's how we sort of were, you know. And I forget now, but we sold something like 500 or 1,000 of them or something like that. It was like we were just blown away, you know. Like, and then you had a guy, and I can't think of his name, and he come from up in Sale, and he was in the Air Force, and he just sent a cheque for a large amount of money.
Yeah.
I just want one T-shirt and enjoy your trip. You know,
That's
things like that. You know, it sort of just makes you want to do stuff. You know.
Yeah. And I guess is that a part as well of what keeps you sort of keeping a finger on the pulse in sidecar racing is just the absolute community that you end up around you in every sense of the word.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out for 20 years and I've only just come back into it in the last couple of years, and you see a lot of the same faces around, and it's just like you haven't left.
Yeah.
You know, and the only reason I sort of stepped out of it is because I went and raced my HQ for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to do both.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. They are both pretty time consuming, and the running around that's involved with both of them is, you know, not small in Australia. Let's be real.
Yeah. And I'm lucky I've got a good wife that loves it as well. Like Anne goes everywhere with us, and she's keen for the boys to help them. She just loves travelling, and we have a good time doing it.
Yeah. Oh, look, and that is a huge part of it as well. Like, you know, we're a family team as well. The race meetings that we do as a family, and you know, it's just such a welcoming and inviting and supportive community that I couldn't imagine not being a part of.
Yeah. Oh no, it's good fun.
But yeah, well, I think we've had a pretty decent chat here, and I'll stay in touch with you because it sounds like you've got some contacts for some other pretty interesting stories that I'll say. But thank you so much, Gab, for your time chatting with me today. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Good to talk to you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Aussie Sidecar Stories. Recommendations are brilliant to us because we don't know everybody in sidecar racing, and we don't know what everybody would like to listen to. Make sure you shoot us a message if you've got someone who has some brilliant stories that you think should be shared, and some stories that need to be preserved, because that's a big part of what we want to do here. Stay in touch with Aussie Sidecar Stories by following us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Rate, review and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you let everybody know what you're listening to. Give us a shout out if you've got some upcoming events to include in this tail end of the episode. If listening to episode 10 and all the fun that everybody had at the Annandale Leichhardt Come and Try Day got you inspired and itching to give it a go, then head on down to the Broadford Motorcycle Sports Complex on Sunday, November 30th for the Victorian Sidecar Association's Come and Try Day. You have to be over 16 to participate. Basic protective gear is required. I will pop the contact details for that one in the show notes.